In 1896, Maud and Ballington Booth envisioned a movement dedicated to reaching and uplifting the American people. They founded Volunteers of America. The Booths' pledge, made more than a century ago, to go wherever needed and do whatever comes to hand, is still honored today.
We serve folks who are typically the most vulnerable people in our society. We serve folks who are low-income elderly, who have no family left, they have no other way to find affordable housing if it were not for us, and then services inside that housing if it were not for us. And in addition to that, we serve folks who have substance abuse issues, who again maybe have run off all of their families. And we're the only family they've got left. And we're sort of their last chance. That's the crux of who we serve, are really America's citizens who are most in need. And we do it in a non-judgmental fashion. We're in the love business. That's what we do. It may look different than that. It may look like a new apartment. You know, it may look like a group therapy session. It may look like something else, but it really is the love business. That's what we're in. Yeah, over the past year, we've been challenged, as everyone else has been challenged, in a greater way than perhaps ever before, with more dramatic need caused from the economic downturn at a time when the resources were shrinking. Our lines of people needing service, needing shelter, needing housing, needing services from us grew longer and longer. We didn't cut anything. We didn't turn anybody away. We continued forward with the same objectives that we had had at the beginning of the year. We're going to be your family. We're going to accept you as family, and we're going to serve you as family.
The Volunteers of America family is an incredible group of 16,000 professionals, plus those of us who are volunteers. We feel part of the family too, who really have enormous passion for the work that they do. We believe every person here deserves the right to live with dignity. When I talk to folks about my work at Volunteers of America, I talk about the transforming work we do and how it really can transform individual lives, transform families, and transform communities. And then I usually tell them it transformed me too. You can't do this work and see these dedicated staff and see the outcomes and not feel touched by it yourself. So while I ask folks to give, and I personally give my time and my talents towards this and my financial support, I get back way more than I ever give.
I was so addicted to drugs that I even used meth to 2 occasions after I found out I was pregnant. And I never thought I'd do that, never. I never thought I would be that person, but I was. They found drugs in my home and they took my children, took me to jail. When I was in jail, I found out I was pregnant with my 3rd unplanned child. I got charged with 2 felonies and I was kind of at a point where I didn't know what to do. I was told about Volunteers of America and that they were a program for women that were in the exact same situation I was in. We're addicted to drugs or alcohol, pregnant, lost our kids, trying to get our lives back. As I'm looking up from the bottom, thinking, how am I gonna do this? How am I gonna change? How am I gonna go on from here? I had like hands reaching down to me to help me, to pull me out of my pit, and New Start was one of those hands. It's like a relief, like a breath of fresh air, like, wow, I don't have to do this by myself. That makes it so much easier to find inside of you what you need to keep going. And that's what I did, and I had New Start there to help me, and it was like, I can do this from here on now.
While in the service, I got my bachelor's degree. And then I decided that I wanted to learn how to teach. And so that's what I did. And I taught for 4.5, 5 years. I figured I had enough skill sets to go out and get a job. And so I landed in Chicago because it was the closest big city and it reminded me of Brooklyn. I went through a series of medical things. I had surgery on my spine, I had a miscarriage, I had a baby. I started just spiraling out of control with drugs and alcohol. Finally, it just got to the point where I couldn't do it anymore. Volunteers of America, they made me feel special. They made me feel like, because of my veteran status, I was very warmly welcomed. They treat you with respect, dignity. They meet you where you are. They meet you where you are, and they understand that as veterans, sometimes, bad things happen to good people. And that doesn't reflect on your character. It doesn't make you a bad person. And I needed a lot of that kind of moral support that I got here as well. I believe that what I got from Volunteers of America, I can be a part of providing for somebody else in terms of the life skills and the work skills and the readiness training. And I've never felt compelled to want to give back to an organization before. And Volunteers of America is a place that I definitely am going to give back to.
A young fellow came to the door, a very pleasant sort of young man, and he wanted to talk about house security. And of course, that's on our minds a lot, especially for an older person. He told me about how I had been picked. That should have been a clue right there to get all these things for free just for talking to him. First thing I knew, there were some other people coming in, drilling these holes in my walls, and I really didn't know what was happening. The next morning I thought, I've got to call Linda. Linda is here, and she's our fixer-upper of things like that. And she came over to my house, and we got things in motion. So that was taken care of. She's known for helping people in situations. She's wonderful. She saved my life.
Service is what I want to do because there's a need out there. A lot of kids, they've been hurt. You can tell they're hurt. Even with that, we can take them and tell them, listen, there's a better way. We're here for you, and we'll do all we can to help you. There's a need for us as adults, as a parent or mentor, to have an impact on our community. I mean, we see it happen all the time. Kids are just going astray and having no sense of hope. So we give them that ray of hope that they can be better. It allowed me to give back into people's lives because someone gave to me. Once you see the potentials in kids, although they've been through a lot, you keep striving and let them know that they can be all that God has called them to be. Volunteers of America, it just affords you the opportunity to do things that you normally couldn't do. So I would, encourage those who are not mentors to say, look, we need your support, we need your help. Whatever you have to offer, give it a shot and see what impact you can have on these kids' lives. And I guarantee you want to be a mentor because you'll see a change in their lives instantly, really, because they got somebody that they care about them, that feel their pain and their hurt, and saying, look, there is hope. So Volunteers of America, stay around as long as you can.